there are so many different elements to what helps children to thrive.
Right.
But I think at the heart of it is a place of trust,
Right.
where they trust the adults around them, where they trust the world around them, and where they also have trust in themselves. And that comes from a deep space of faith, I think.
Right.
Faith
Right.
that they are loved,
Right.
faith that they are known, faith that they are purposed, faith that who they are as the person they are is just right, that they don't have to be another to be full, to be free, that they are, as they are, sufficient for what is planned for them.
Let's explore that a little further. So we talk about trust, we talk about faith. Those elements seem very close to what the Bible talks to us about hope and love. How did these play into how you see the foundation being laid?
Well, I think, faith, hope, and love, I always say they're a cord of three strands, that you need them all together and they play off each other. So I think faith leads to hope. And if I have that sense that I am enough as I am for the purpose that I have been made for, then I hope. I look with expectation about what life might bring rather than with trepidation about it. And I talk about schools being reservoirs of hope. They're a place where you give children a sense of all that might be, that you elevate their horizons and their expectations, that you show them all that there is out there in the world, not to be afraid of, but to actually approach with confidence. And I think every word we speak into a life of a child gives them hope. Every time I say, you can do this, well done, I've seen you made progress there. We are bringers of hope into the lives of children. So I think that's really important. But I think all of that is fueled by love. We don't give hope, we don't give trust if we don't love. And so love is foundational to all of that it comes out of a deep love for people and wanting people made in God's image to be all that God has purposed them to be. And so I think those strands work together.
And play together.
And they are the thing that make flowers grow, make people grow. They are the fertilizer. And we don't do them for that reason. We do them because they are right and good and God's made it that way. But they are the juice in which children thrive and flourish.
Yeah.
So I was chatting to someone the other day and I said, I'm never going to make a promise to shield your children from all that's out there in the world. But what I think our purpose as a school is to shepherd children through that, to help them think about the world constructively, creatively, critically, but with a positive desire to make a difference in it. And so for me, that sapling that you are trying to protect and grow in these juices of faith, hope and love, you are seeking one day to grow into an oak. And I love the imagery we have here in the school of acorns and saplings and oaks, but you're seeking them to be an oak. And oaks their skin is not smooth.
No.
It's actually weathered.
Callous, yes.
It's weathered, but it's strong. And it's sheltering the heart, which is the wellspring of where all that's truly fruitful will come from. So I think it may well be that a secondary school is exposing children to more of the hard things of life, the painful aspects of life, the confusing aspects of life, but doing it in such a way that equips the child to be weathered by those things, but not flawed.
Not broken.
Not broken. And I often think courage is the opposite of conformity, or at least it's the flip side of conformity. And I think for me, that's such an important part of education here, that we're raising oaks of courage who can both give deeply into the world, but also stand deeply for what they know to be true. And I think for a child to be comfortable with being different is really important. And to be happy with being different, to know that being different as I am is okay. I'm okay with being different. I'm okay with being the world feeling I'm different and distinctive. And there being something very wholesome about someone who's confidently distinctive and unashamedly different. And it's not a nerdy difference, it's a courageous difference. And there is something attractive and powerful about, I think. And that for me, I always say the corollary of faith is courage. And so you want children deep in faith, because how that will manifest in the world is courage. And the world needs courageous people.
if ever.
If
there
ever,
ever was a
we
time.
needed it. The world needs courageous people. And that, I think, courage springs from faith.
Yeah.
And so I think there is some deep thinking that needs to be done. I think we need to bring more thinking into the building. We need to bring people who are deeply committed to this vision, not just for 5 years, but for a generational thing.
Right.
I think the tree analogy works, isn't it? You don't just plant a sapling and then leave it. We want people who get that this is a generational work. This is 30 years of work. It's not 7 years of work. Who are committed to this as a vision for education, not just a vision for this moment and for this school. So I think we need that resource of deep thinkers who are going to say, rather than follow this path, I'm going to take this one because I believe that there's something deep and meaningful and lasting that can be done here. So I think resourcing of people with vision for it. Space, I think we went actually creating that space where children are free to grow, I think is so important. And I think this site is beautiful, but we need more space than this. I don't want to put a high-rise building back there. We need space where that hope can flow, where children have that sense of all that might be in the world, all that they could be in the world. So space is really, really important, and buildings for that. And daring to imagine that in Oxford there is that space for this growth, for this school to be, is really important.
Now, I see both sides of that conversation. I think beyond seeing the vision and buying in, ultimately we're modeled through the examples that are set. And so the permanence of presence helps in that continued modeling and that value system and that culture being represented, right? And space in Oxford, isn't that the dream?
Yes.
But through God, all things are possible. I think there's a lot that can be done, that should be done. Speak to me, I guess, ultimately around, from a secondary perspective, how important you think that is, particularly in this communal context, having that continuity and not leaving, I guess, a job half done, as it might happen with secondary and handing them over to an unknown process and outcome.
I think it goes back to the oak analogy, doesn't it? We want them to grow in the same direction, that the strongest oak is one that grows towards the light, in the same direction, towards the light. And I think what we're trying to do at secondary is saying, primary, we've tried to help you grow towards the light, but we want you to keep growing in the same direction, to be strong and flourishing. You may be weathered, there may be calluses, but we want you to be growing towards the light. And I think secondary gives that opportunity for all the values that have been embedded here at primary to grow,
And
keep growing, and manifest themselves in leafy, hopefully fruity
Yes.
expression.
Brilliant. Brilliant.